Now, the woman at the center of the Emmett Till saga, Carolyn Bryant Dunham, has died. The 88-year-old had cancer and was receiving end-of-life hospice care in Louisiana. In August 1955, Till was 14 years old when he visited his Mississippi relatives from Chicago. While there, he was beaten and shot to death, lynched actually, after Dunham accused him of whistling at her in a store in Mississippi. In her memoir, Dunham wrote that she did not wish Till any harm and that those responsible for his murder should have been held accountable. Dunham.
She was 88 years old. She accused 14-year-old Emmett Till of making improper advances toward her in Mississippi in 1955. A cousin of Till has said the teen whistled at the woman at a grocery store. Till was later kidnapped and then killed by the woman's then husband and his half-brother. An all-white jury acquitted them at trial, but the two later confessed in a magazine interview. In an unpublished memoir obtained by the Associated Press just in 2022, Dunham said she was unaware of what would happen to Till.
By this time, everyone in Money knew what had happened. Emmett Till had broken one of segregation's rules. He talked fresh to a white woman in a store. He was only 14, he was a northerner, and he didn't understand.
We went into the store to buy some candy. Before we went in, he had showed the boys around his age. He had some picture of some white kids that he had graduated from. That was, female and male. So he told the boys down there, hey, you got around the store? This must have been around about maybe 10 to 12, youngsters around there. That the girls was his girlfriend, So one of the local boys said, hey, there's a girl in that store there, so I bet you want to go in there and talk to her, So he went in there to get some candy. So when he was leaving out the store, after buying the candy, he told us, say, bye, baby. And the next thing I knew, one of the boys came up to me and say, man, you got a crazy cousin. He just went in there and said bye to that white woman. And that's when this man I was playing checker with, this older man, I guess he must have been around about 60 or 70, he jumped straight up and said, boy, say, y'all about to get out of here, say, that lady come out of that store and blow y'all brains off.
And telling jokes, and Emmett loved jokes. He paid people to tell him jokes. And so at the store, I decided to go in and purchase some things. But while I was in the store, I remember Emmett coming in, and my formative years were spent in the South. I spent 7 to 8 years, so I was well entrenched in the ways of the South. You are taught that from the day you could understand how to stay alive as a black boy in Mississippi. So I saw him come in. I said, man, I remember my heart, boom. I said, I hope he got it together, that they got his language together, the yes sirs and the no sirs and the politeness that they demanded. So I said, I hope he got it together. So I left him in the store. And of course, shortly thereafter, my Uncle Simeon came in, who was 12 and was 14, and I was 16. He came in with him. Nothing happened while I was in the store. They came out, nothing happened at all.
And then when did you realize that something was going on?
Well, shortly after I left out and they came out, and then Mrs. Bryant came out, and coming out of the store, she turns to her left. And as Emmett was, he loved to make people laugh, he gave the wolf whistle. There's so many different stories told about that and where it happened and all of that. But he whistled at her. He did whistle at her. And when he did that, we just could not believe in Mississippi in 1955 that he whistled at this white lady where people have been killed for reckless eyeball, that is, looking at her. And no one said, let's go. My Uncle 16 driving the car. Everyone made a beeline for the car. And we took off down this gravel road.
You knew right then that there was going to be trouble. So what did you do then?
Well, we got in the car, and now Emmett is excited. He's scared now because we showing these emotions. So my uncle sped down the road, and dust is flying everywhere, and there's a car behind us. So someone said, yeah, they're after us, and we knew rightly so they could be after us for what he had done. So we pulled to the side, jumps out of the car, run through the cotton field, and the car goes right on by. And we would group at the edge of the road, and Emmett asked us not to tell my grandfather. So it's Wednesday. We didn't tell my grandfather. Thursday passed, Friday passed, Saturday passed, and we kind of forgot about it. We forgot about it. Otherwise, we should have probably been on a train heading back north. But then they would come to the house sometimes, and someone would have to pay.
So when someone finally did come to the house, what happened then?
It was Sunday morning. We had gone to town just prior to that to Greenwood. We got home, I guess, about 12 o'clock. Not thinking anything. We went to bed. It's 4 big bedrooms. I'm in the bed with my Uncle Maurice. And then about 2:30 in the morning, I hear these people talking. And they're talking about what happened at the store. Being raised with very strong faith. First thing I said, when death is imminent, I said, God, we're getting ready to die. These people.
The men, Carolyn's husband, Roy Bryant, J.W. Mylan, they came to the house about 2 a.m. I don't know the exact time, but somewhere in that vicinity. And of course the house was 4 bedrooms. Wheeler, the first house, was on the west side of the house where Wheeler was sleeping. They went in there. They awakened Wheeler and said, this is the wrong boy. So we're looking for the fat boy from Chicago. And they marched around to my bedroom. And I heard the noise, the loud talking, and I woke up and saw these 2 white men standing at the foot of my bed. One had a gun, flashlight. Later on, found out it was J.W. Mylan. He ordered me to lay back down and go back to sleep, and he made Emmett get up and dress and march him out to the truck. A lot of things happened before they marched him out because I still didn't know what was going on. Then when my mother came in there, and she was half talking and half pleading with them to leave him alone, that she would give them money to leave him alone. And Roy kind of hesitated when they heard money, But J.W. Mylan, he didn't hesitate at all. And before he left my bedroom, he asked my daddy, how old was he? Of course, at the time, my daddy told him he was 64. And J.W. said that if you tell anybody about this, you won't live to get 65. And they marched Emmett out. Emmett didn't say one word.
This is Mose Wright. I am the uncle of Emmett Lewis Till. Sunday morning, about 2:30, someone called at the door. And I said, who is it? And he said, this is Mr. Bryant. I want to talk with you and the boy. And when I opened the door, there was a man standing with a pistol in one hand and a flashlight in the other hand. And he asked me, did I have 2 boys there from Chicago? I told him I have. And he said, I want the boy that done all that talk. And they marched him to the car, and they asked someone there, was this is the right boy? And the answer was, he is. And they drove toward money.
Carolyn Bryant has died. She's the woman who accused Emmett Till 67 years ago of whistling at her, ultimately creating the atmosphere for him to be lynched and killed. And 67 years after, the president signed into law the first ever anti-lynching act in this nation, federal anti-lynching act. What does this White House say, or the president say, about her death, as there's no justice for Emmett Till's mother now?
So the president was very proud to sign the Emmett Till Anti-Lynching Act into law this past spring. As you just mentioned, April, this is something that he was very proud to do. He also hosted, as you know, civil rights leaders for a screening of the venue that work alongside the brave leaders across our country, his family, civil rights leaders, continuing the fight against racial hatred. And that's what the American people should know, that the president is committed to dealing with this crisis that we see in front of us and dealing with this racial hatred that we see across the country.